So some of us done exposure blending where you've taken multiple exposures and got Lightroom to combine them together. And you may have done those ones, the panoramic shots, where you took multiple shots and stitched them all together to make one long, beautiful photograph. But have you ever actually done a panoramic shot that's also exposure blended? Well, Lightroom can do that, and that's what I'm doing today. Greetings all, and welcome back to another one. Yeah, this one is something that I have only done once before, which is a panoramic HDR, or HDR panoramic, whichever way around you want to call it. And I don't think I need to explain the reasons why you might want to do this, because I think it's a little bit self-explanatory. I mean, we all know the reasons why you do a pano, and you're pretty much going to know the reasons why you do high dynamic range or exposure blending. And I'm just going to say is that if you don't know what they are, then doing this, I wouldn't try it just yet until you've done the other two. Yeah, I don't really have to explain much other to this one, because like I say, you know what they are and what they're for. So let's just get straight into Lightroom and see how quick and easy Lightroom can combine these together, and then we'll do a bit of post work on them. We are here in Lightroom, and the first thing that you're going to notice is that I've got a lot of images here that we're going to have to combine together, and the reason obviously being for that is because of each shot that I've taken for the pano itself is there are also 3 exposures per one that it's taken. The 3 exposures is the correct, 1 over, 1 under. So, you know, Lightroom should be pretty quick and, you know, quite easily be able to manage this. So let's just get on with it, you know. So I think the first thing we're going to do is select every single one of them that we have here. All 42. Let's right click, and we go up to photo merge, and obviously on Lightroom you've got HDR panorama and the HDR panorama, so it's obviously capable of doing it. It will take a lot longer than normal if you do like a normal HDR or a normal HDR, because you've got to do both. The chances of it failing are also a lot greater. So let's just sit, wait and hope that it's going to do it, because I don't have a video if not. Oh, it's getting there. We're halfway through. Oh, look at that. It's actually done it. Brilliant. It's a little bit slightly out. Let's take the auto crop off. Let's see if we can fill edge. Let's see what it will do with the fill edge, because I'm going to play around and see which one is going to look good. This may struggle to fill edges because it will stretch, but I can soon get rid of it and redo it. And I'm pretty sure that when it comes to actually, because obviously that was just generating the preview, so actually doing the whole thing, you know, he's going to take just the same amount of time again. So, you know, yeah, that has well and truly made a right cock of that. So we're not going to fill edges. I'm going to get rid of that. Spherical. Ooh, let's see. Go to the preview. Let's have a look. That's probably going to look a bit weird. So I might actually go for, I might just leave it on perspective actually. Oh, actually, I'm actually going to leave it on that. Let's turn on auto crop as well. That ain't bad. I'm actually liking that. And from what I can see at the moment, that hasn't warped much at all. That I'm liking. Right, I'm going with that. Merge. There we go. Merge is going to probably take a long time as well. So yeah, that's just plodding along. So I'm probably going to skip this bit, and because it is going to take a couple of minutes. So yeah, I don't want to bore you. Right, there we are. It's done. That took probably around about 3 minutes, but yeah, it's done. So now I'm just trying to generate the image. Oh, look at that. Now, I'm going to say the first thing that I'm actually going to do is just have a quick look to see. We've got there's going to be, I'm going to use the healing tool on a few bits of this. Oh, there's a guy who was not using the metal detector. I'm actually going to leave him in. Just trying to see if I can find any issues with the stitching together, because I'm going to say apart from that, no issues at all. Railings look pretty straight. I may crop a little bit off that right hand side, and from the bottom I want to get that horizon pretty sort of straight. Let's see. I'm going to get, see, the horizon's not quite. Oh, wrong way. Do it manually because it didn't pick up the horizon very well. So let's do it manually and get that horizon straight. We need to bring it in slightly, just slightly, because I want to get. So on this left side, you've got the handrail, which is so far up. I want it to be roughly the same, roughly. So I'm thinking about there. That, to me, is the copper one. That is looking pretty good. So now we have got that. Let's have a play with. So we want landscape. Daylight's looking a bit blue, which I might actually leave as the daylight. I think it's pretty much the same as it was when I was there. Yes, it was. So that was as I did it on the shot, and the reason being is because we were still in the blue hour. As you can see, the sun hasn't quite risen. It was I think it was around about 10 minutes away, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure it was. Got a bit of an error here, a bit of a problem there, so I am going to get rid of that using the healing tool. So if we can, boom, gone, which is good. And I want to get rid of the boat as well. Gone. Just that one boat. I'm probably going to leave these. I actually did some some normal photographs which had these boats in them. I actually removed them, but for this one I'm actually going to leave it in because it's quite wide, so I'm actually going to leave those in, though I may probably just remove one or two just to remove that little bit of clutter. I don't know. Let's have a, yeah, I think it's probably a little bit better. I am going to remove some of these smaller, like buoy objects, And it's like I've said before on previous videos as well, is to go around and clean your image up of things that are like distracting or make things a bit too much clutter, and it's those little things like that can they spoil like that. They tend to spoil an image, so I'm going to get rid of that one. I've got a boat up here as well. Look, there it is. Look, I'm going to get rid of that as well. There we go. That's a little bit better. Yeah, it's a bit cleaner. So yeah, let's just get on with the detail on that's pretty good. There's not a lot of, there's no noise or anything in that, which I'm pretty pleased about. So let's just go down and do what we normally do. And first thing we do is work with the sky. Linear gradient. Let's start halfway down. Let's go to about here and dehaze just a little bit. It just brings out the blue, a bit more blue in the sky, and because it's the blue hour, it does enhance that photo just a little bit more. Don't go too mad, because if you put it too mad, it just looks stupid, you know, and that's just like too much. And no, just literally just a little bit. Same up with the texture, up with the clarity. I tend to find with that as well is that it does tend to bring out more detail that there are in the clouds, and so I do like to bring out bring up the texture and stuff in that. Right, so I'm not really going to do too much to it because it does actually look pretty, you know, pretty okay. Bring that contrast up just a tad, as well as the exposure just a little. Probably not quite so much. Just actually, yeah, I'm preferring that, to be honest. Okay, now one of the things that you'll notice about Lightroom is that when you do anything which is any stitching together, like with HDR, or you're doing a Pano, is that AI denoise is disabled, so you have to do it manually. Luckily, there is not a lot of noise in that here, but I will just a little tiny bit, just to that's a bit better. Just to try to bring out that little bit more detail, I have increased the detail and the smoothness just a fraction of a bit. Don't want to do too much because it doesn't really actually need it. And let's go down to vibrance. Always tweak that a little bit when you're doing sunrise, and don't crank up the saturation, because I've seen quite a few people that have done this, and smartphones are notorious for doing this, where they crank up so much of the saturation and stuff, and it's terrible, it really does. So you may think, oh yeah, I really want to boost them colours and all the rest of it. Yeah, that's fine, but you know, literally just a very small amount, just to enhance the colours, not to make them too overpowering. So just literally just a little bit. And so you can see the before, which is on the left, after on the right. You can see how much that just them few tweaks have already actually done. You brought out the detail, you on the pier, on the sky. It just is looking a lot better already. But there is one other thing that I'm going to do, and if we go down, actually there's two other things that we're going to do, sorry, is the trick that I normally do, which is the sharpening. We just sharpen the outlines of the objects. Hold down the Alt key, increase the mask till you've just got the outlines, and then increase your sharpening. Don't sharpen the whole thing, pointless. Now, I'm not going to use vignette, because my normal trick that I tend to do, and I've been doing it quite a lot lately, and the appearance is a lot better than just putting a vignette in. So I don't use it, because I find that this is a little bit more subtle, yet it's making your centre of the image, because that's where I'm trying to draw you into. If you've got, say, a person or something that's, say, on the left, then you do this on the person, and it just helps to make them, you know, it makes them stand out like a little bit more. So we're going to do that with, but we're going to use radial gradient. and from the center we are going to go all the way out. There we go. So let's get back to the end. Oops. Tweak. That is perfect. And we're just going to notch up that exposure, literally just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. And contrast, just literally just a little tiny bit, nothing massive, just real small amount. And that is that. We then do a second one. It's quite easy to actually do. You click them little dots on the outside of the mask that we've just done, and so duplicate and invert. We'll duplicate the mask but then invert it, and then we will drop down, same again, opposite, just a little bit, try and do about the same as what you'd increase the middle. So if you do increase middle by 0.3, try and do the outside by minus 0.3 or thereabouts, and drop down the contrast just that little tiny. Ooh, I'm too short one, actually probably go up a little bit. Perfect, absolutely perfect. And close. So let's go back to the before and after. Before, after, and as you can see the vignette would have literally, you'd have had rather darker edges to the frame around the outside, and it can spoil it. So I do tend to use that method, which I've just done, and I've just noticed this at the top up here, so I'm going to have to redo that crop just that little tiny bit in, just to get rid of that white, there we go, that white bit of frame on the top. So I think I am actually about there. Looking okay, we are looking good, lots of detail, leaving that guy in, which yes, it was metal detecting. So that is now, for me, done. So yeah, Lightroom is more than capable of doing a HDR pano, and depending on how many images you had, that was 42 that it had to combine. That took what, 3 or 4 minutes to generate the preview, and then 3 or 4 minutes to actually do the actual final one. Cropping, when it comes down to cropping, then yeah, I would just play around, get it to what you like. Try and keep a real close eye on certain details. And what I mean by this is where the railing on the left is pretty much matching the railing on the right. It's little things like this that can make and break a photo. I'm really pleased with that, and yeah, I do like it. Obviously, seen as well as after it generated, there was obviously the 3 options, which is perspective, cylindrical and spherical. Yeah, I've said this in previous videos, is that it's really difficult to say which is the best one to choose, because a lot of it is going to depend on how your image was taken to which one you're going to use. So try them and see which one gives you the best result, but you need to keep an eye out for some things where you're distorting a part for it to try to get the stitching right and things like this. So yeah, do play around with it, because you don't want to mess your hard work up, is what I'm gonna say. So there we go, that's that one. Hope you found it pretty useful, showing you obviously the capabilities of doing some more trickier stuff with Lightroom. So, you know, get out there and you know, if you've done your panos and you've done HDR stuff, have a go at combining them both, because it can do it. So until the next time, thanks for joining me on this one. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.